Hello everybody, welcome back to Let's Play Hearts of Iron 4 Kaiser Reich New Order of Germany. Let us continue on from where we last left off. So, we do have a more interactions in here. And what I think I want to do is, I think like this... Who can I actually interact with here? You're allied, you're in opposition. Overview. Is there anything I can like click on? Okay. President of the Philippines have been assassinated. And that's kind of okay. I said I have no interactions, even though I think this says I do. Oh, no, there we go. Okay. Slave plantations. Let's decrease your power. Yeah, let's just reduce their power as much as we possibly can. Militarists, Kriegsmarine, sub-loyalty, conservatives. Okay, so everyone actually is interacting here at the same time. We're trying to improve our power with you. And they're trying to lower the power of everybody else. Okay, so I should not be improving the power of the here, because the here is in opposition to us. I should be weakening them, is what I'm looking at, or what I'm guessing at least. Hope somebody please tell me if I'm correct in this. Okay, let's yeah, do slaves to farmers next. We also need to have civilian factories. Well, we need better. I mean, our schools are great. You know, like, give me more office coverage. Why not? Let's go. More offices here, offices here, offices here, offices there. And, I mean, that looks pretty good. I will say our industry is way worse than it was for the Civil War. I think we had, like, 40 factories at a time. Now we have, like, 27. Germans flee from Norway. Using the Reich's distraction by the Civil War, the new Norwegian government had not only toppled the old Reichskommissariat, but also decided to expel any German remaining in the country. Now, many of the expelled are asking to find a new home within our territory, bringing promise of skilled and experienced workforce. Outright rejection would only reduce our reputation to the average German and force us to militarily intervene as refugees flow across the border. Hence, those who wish to remain here can stay. Come on in, but you better behave. And the chief of the party, Chancellery. The silver-haired man sitting opposite Bormann delicately cut into his poached eggs and salmon. Walter von Schriff had forged the Hitler Judith into a force of young, fine Aryan men during the 1930s, and served dutifully in the Reichstag. Opposing the chaotic ideals of reformists and the militarists alike, he was a pretentious intellectual and career politician. Yes, but nonetheless a dedicated National Socialist and a competent administrator. Bormann had been swift in naming him as the new Parteikanzler. The party chancellor is a beast that needs wrangling in times of peace and stability, Bormann chuckled, tearing at his steak with a long, sharp knife, let alone following the Civil War. As we rebuild our nation, we must so rebuild the party and the state. The Bürgerkrieg will not soon lead the national consciousness, von Schriff sighed sadly. To quote Leavis Carl, if 7 maids with 7 mobs swept for half a year, do you suppose the walrus said that they would sweep it clear? I doubt it, said the carpenter, and I shed a bitter tear. What the hell? Wait, what? What the hell does that mean? If 7 maids with 7 mops swept it for half a year, do you suppose, the walrus said, that they would sweep it clear? I guess sweep what, the floor clear? Like there wouldn't be a floor? I have no idea what the hell that means, but thank you. Thank you for your input. Is that like a German saying? Oh, yeah, reclaim the pact. Okay. So yeah, let's do everything. Absolutely. A loyal fascist. In the northwest of our European empire, Deutschland has been born. The Dutch fascist Cornelius von Giersken has declared himself the leader, promising to rebuild Dutch National Socialism to his people, while stressing his absolute loyalty to the Reich. The Netherlands, the German Reich Commissariat since the invasion in 1940, has embraced the ideals of this man who has seized power during the chaos of the Bürgerkrieg. To her surprise, the Dutchman had written directly to the Führer, offering to transition his nation back to the Reichskommissariat with himself as its Reichskommissar. While some subservient German-run administration would be more trustworthy than a band of fascist Dutchmen, we should accept that von Giersken has loyally kept his nation in the Einspach. His more nationalist rhetoric and policy proposals, such as greater economic autonomy and the abolition of slavery, couldn't be easily negotiated. For now, let them think they are in control. Okay, so party proxy goes up by +5 power, we get a little more loyalty, and we'll have negotiations with the Dutch. The apparent Reichskommissar. The Supreme Commander of the Weimar garrison in Denmark has grabbed power for himself, asserting the authority of his clique onto the Danish government on the basis of maintaining stability in the protectorate. The uncompromising Hermann von Hacken may be unabashed militarist, but the man declared no loyalty to Göring's belligerent band during the bloody Bürgerkrieg. Instead, maintaining strict neutrality, for this reason among many others, the Führer trusts this man's loyalty to lie firmly in the security and prosperity of the Reich. So again, more loyalty The militaries actually get more loyalty, which is also, like, not great for us. We got more events. Here's gone up. So I'm guessing this is, like, we don't have control, right? We have 36% control, and the rest of the enemy control is split between the militarist and reformist. So we have 36%. So we need to... Anybody who's, like, aligned with the militarist, we need to get them become less powerful. Yeah, so the intelligentsia is very, very reformist. Because getting them... Okay, so we want to actually not give them more power. We want to make them more loyal. I pressed the wrong button, but that's okay. Erwan Air Grutbert. The camera's been focused on the desk in the office. All of its shelves carefully articulated to show off the exact pictures commemorating the victories in the Civil War. Lights illuminated the office to give a warm feeling, even in spite of the cold aura which could be felt with the eyes of the lone Führer sitting at the table, smiling as bright and lifeless as fluorescent lighting. The effective producer gave a thumbs up, and the Führer cleared his throat. Ladies and gentlemen, today I would like to give my eternal thanks to those who the Reich owes an immense favor. The garrisons of Bohemian Varia, who have so fiercely defended and fought for the true National Socialism. At this moment, the Führer knew that photos of the brave men marching and fighting were being laid over the footage, and tried to envision his voice layered over the bloody battles. It is thanks to these soldiers that the region still stands, and they're potentially very well responsible for turning the tides of the Civil War. For that, the Reich is forever grateful, and they hold nothing but optimism for our future relation with such an integral part of the Reich. With that, the camera operators let out a sigh of relief, and with the smile of the producer, he announced to the room, and nobody in particular, we got it. Political power and Bohemia is going to be reincorporated back into the Reich. In a letter from Van Haken. Der Führer und der Reichsgar der Großmaschinen Reichs. I trust you've already received my congratulations on winning the Bürgerkrieg against the traitors Göring and Heinrich. As you all know, Werner Best and his government have spent the last 2 decades engaged in what can only be described as bureaucratic procrastination. Their lust for power prevented Denmark from escaping the legal limbo it found itself mired in, and as a result, the nation continues to serve the Reich as a useless little protectorate. I humbly present the following offer. If Denmark is transformed into a Reichskommissar with myself as the Reichskommissar, I will work tirelessly to prepare the region for total integration with the Reich proper. Heil Bormann. Okay, so either regain power. Von Hacken's ego has outgrown his jackboots. Instruct him to stand down immediately. Because you are a militarist. I mean, we could just say yes, and we just incorporate Denmark as in our little faction immediately. But the military gets more powerful, and we actually lose a lot of power here. No more demands. Negotiations with the Dutch. Okay, there's going to be a lot of events here, but I mean, that's par for the course. If you're watching this video, you know what you signed up for. Reichskommissar von Deutschland Cornelius van Gilkirchen. Thank you for your previous letter. I have discussed your proposed reforms intensely with my foreign ministry, and we have decided our definitive conclusions. Your desire to further stabilize Deutschland, as well as your open loyalty to the Reich and myself, is proof enough that your appointment as Reichskommissar is well earned. As such, I will permit you some minor reforms. You have my permission to impose a system of corvée safely. You have my permission to increase the limit of WA black shirt conscriptions, as well as to establish your own national Juststurm as the arm of the state. In return, you must ensure that both paramilitary movements officially pledge their allegiance to the Reich, and if you're in accordance with their regular routine. Furthermore, if either of these groups come into conflict with my Ostpolizei, I will consider restricting their conscription limits at best, and banning them at worst. I am willing to grant you greater autonomy over straight broadcast, organized rallies, and educational mandates, and hope that greater level of independence rallies the rebellious Dutch populace to your side. Naturally, the rest of your proposals have been rejected. We will not withdraw German Police officers from your nation, as they have been proven to be effective in rooting out protests and dissent. We will not grant Dutch control over those vital areas of infrastructure that the Reich is currently dutifully protecting, and we will not tolerate propaganda betraying our two nations as equal. Heil Bormann. And the Chief of the Reich's Chancellery. Three colorless bureaucrats nodded eagerly as the Führer praised their tireless loyalty and detailed their new government positions. Gerald Kulfer, Albert Hoffmann, and Hulmut Friedrichs have served the Bormann's deputies for over 2 decades. The brown servants of the Brown Eminence. They were mockingly called. All three wore the title as a badge of honor. Hoffmann and Friedrichs accepted their new positions as Balder von Scheffen's deputies and left the room with a fervent salutes. Gerald Kulfer stayed behind, politely waiting for Bormann to finish his cigar. He was a slender, somewhat skeletal man with 2 sunken eyes and a flop of gray hair swept over his bulging forehead. Gerard, Bormann finally spoke up. You served me well for many years, without complaint or restraint. You've represented me faithfully during the Einschlussreich conference and shot down any argument against the extermination of our enemies. Not once have you faltered. I hereby name you as official deputy of the Führer, the chief of the Reich's chancellery. We both know the latter is a familiar position more than anything, but Gerald's eyes blinked away his watering eyes and coughed gruffly. Thank you, my Führer. I will serve you well. Okay, so our credit rating has gone down. It's now only good. Dinner with Highcloth. A toast to the leader. Albert High smirked, raising a glass of wine. Cornelius von Glücklin raised his with a bitter smile, took a sip and continued wolfing down his plate as Stamp fought before him. The leash around his neck was tightening. Bormann's polite but stern letters and diplomatic gestures have grown stale and synthetic, like clusters of plastic flowers. It was not enough to restrict von Glur's reforms. Now the Führer wanted to tighten his grip on the Dutch economy. As I was saying, Heiken continued wiping his mouth with a napkin. Most of this budget is in the grasp of the Germans. What little fiscal responsibilities our state has left, with it being monitored. My hands are tied, and if so desire, Bormann could collapse our economy just like that. The economic minister snapped his fingers. That stummy little cunt, Van Gogh cursed, clenching his cutlery until his fist turned white. First the Jews, now the Germans. It feels like the Dutch people were cursed to suffer the machinations of money grubbers. What these parasites suck from us can be measured in sweat of the working Dutchman. It's a fucking outrage. An outrage we must abide, unfortunately, Heinrich sighed, polishing his spectacles. In time, you may be given more physical autonomy. For now, I advise you smile and fawn. Oh, and one more thing, my leader. I implore you not to compare Jews and Germans in my presence. I prefer not to find a bullet in the back of my head. Thank you very much. The leash tightens evermore. So we're going to get 3 more power for the bureaucracy. We're going to get the rights to oil, aluminum, tungsten, basically everything. Excellent. I love resources. So the banks, the party bureaucracy, they're mostly loyal to us, which is great. Now, the people are mostly aligned with the reformists, but again, they're still pretty split between everybody, so we have some wiggle room here. Now, I would like to get some more people on side, or to maybe have the military more favorable towards us. And Bohemia and Moravia are reintegrated. Across the Reich, celebrations ring out as Bohemia and Moravia have finally been reintegrated into Germany. Thanks to the tireless effort of the soldiers who fought on our side throughout the civil conflict, the region has been reintegrated with minimal damage, and they may very well be the deciding factor in a conflict. Through nationalism, might, grit, and unwavering loyalty to the true Germany, the garrison region have done more than necessary to prove their loyalty. While the region has been within the Eintracht for some time now, with all the preparations met on the part of the Great Führer, the official ceremony has been held and aired on national television across the Reich. With this considerable achievement reached, we can now say for certain that the first step has been taken towards true stability on a national level, and Germany can begin to reclaim what it lost, both in prestige and in Lieberstrom. For now, however, it can take some time to celebrate the small victory, something which the people are so desperately need, as Germany has finally wrenched itself out of the gutter and began to look eastward into its former colonial possessions. Fantastic, we've incorporated you into our country. Can't do any of these quite yet. And we cannot involve ourselves in any of these wars, at least not yet. But I'm sure our former ally in Ostland will be able to win this war. I'm pretty sure. By the way, can I say the provisional government of Moscow's capital is in St. Petersburg? I just think that's a little funny. Okay, the Vietnamese monarchy has been... Oh, we can actually intervene in South Africa as well. I think we definitely will. Let's go down to South Africa. Okay, we have no interactions here. But I guess this will allow us to maybe go into the conflict. But how's that looking? Pretty good for us, I would say. No more demands. Herr von Haken, Bormann spoke down the phone with a reserved tone. It's been a long day, and he did not want frustration to radiate from his voice. Herr Bormann, it's been a pleasure to speak to you. I wanted to reply to your letter more personally. Heil mein Führer, von Haken replied. I was not expecting such a call. Have you received my offer? I have not, Bormann responded, bristling the man's rude brashness. Denmark has maintained its protectorate status, and you will stand down from power to allow old government to return. I see. Von Haken's bitter voice came after a long pause. This is most unfortunate. For your loyalties, I will pardon your recent actions. You will step down with immediate effectiveness, and Gustav Meschren will be named the new German potentially in Denmark. Do not resist these terms. We get more power. Denmark is going to become a puppet of ours, and they're going to join an economic sphere. Fantastic. Which now means that you don't need to be in the border with Denmark. We're going to put you on the border with the Swedes. I think that makes sense for us. Because Sweden, a bunch of progressive dorks. The new leader. The morning was crisp and sunny, as if the world itself was mocking the recent news. Reich Commissar von Gillerkirchen strode past the lines of uniformed black shirts, standing at attention. briefly scanning his eyes over their stony expressions when expectant. Von Schlettinga marched alongside him, his face ruddy and creased. If I find out you've been hiding any incidents from me, von Gerken muttered, turning his gaze towards the minister. Despite the occasional skirmishes and starting message, the simmering tension between the Dutch blackshirts and German officers in the Austrian police have not boiled over into violence. In fact, while the two organizations have admittedly not worked well together in expressing protests from dissenters, von Gerken had been informed of the growing respect between them. I've hidden nothing from you, my leader, von Stiltiga growled. We have a treaty of Orpen, exactly what we were told. My Bormann decided to deploy even more of those German ambassadors throughout Deutschland. I do not know. If you ask me, it's nothing more than an insult. They want our people to believe the Reich that's maintaining stability here, not us. It's more than just an insult, Daniel, von Gerken responded, quietly turning his back on the black columns. It's a threat. If we don't do what the Führer says, the Orpen will have our entire government up against the wall within hours. The German Leash should become tight. He could barely breathe. There's nothing we can do. Inform the WA leadership of the new deployment. I have a speech to make. Brave man of the WA, I have an announcement to make. So the Dutch are going to join our economic sphere. The conservatives are going to get more loyalty. Fantastic. Cornelius von Gerkensen, I'm glad you were able to see reason here. So we're going to redeploy these troops onto, I'm going to say Slovakia for now. And now we have more options. Okay, so let's go Slovakia and with Poland as well. We'll worry about Crimea afterwards. Gateway to the Balkans. To the south of Germany, bordering our territories of Schleswig and Mähren, lies the Carpathian Mountains. This is a great wall of rock caged the newly unified Hungary in the 9th century, and before that had been a barrier that even the great Romans could not reach before being halted in their eastern expansion. In a bulwark of bright our influence in the Balkans and beyond. There is a solution here, albeit a simple one. Winning over Slovakia could buy back the Carpathians and give the Reich a righter border with Hungary. Additionally, the reintegration of Slovakia into the pact could regain Germany an old ally, increasing our legitimacy in the eyes of both the public and abroad. Considering this, the Führer has sent an ultimatum to Bratislava: rejoin the pact or face invasion. And chaos in the Weinschel. Among the foreign policy initiatives announced by the Reichskarl, none have prompted more attention and worry than the Führer's announcement of what he seeks to resolve, once again, the Polish question. Perhaps aware of the sensitivity of the situation, former Bormann has issued an unexpectedly wide call for policy proposals in the days preceding the final decision. As the day's way on, the debate narrows to two options. The first contends that instead of wasting lives and equipment to re-establish the clearly defunct Governor General, the Reich should negotiate to establish a Polish client state. The militarists in the party and the Weimar are bitterly opposed, asking why the Reich should bind itself to making concessions to the Polish under mention, and it remains clear that the Poles will demand a response. Or remains unclear what the Poles will demand a response. The competing officer is elegantly simple on his face, if costly, an ultimatum for the Polish state to surrender to the renewed general government or face reintegration into the Reichspakt. There's little doubt the proposal will be refused, and even less doubt the Poles can resist. And the militaries are counting on a swift victory to buoy the spirits of the people at home. At the fear of most of his options, the Weimar and the Polish division assemble at the border, digging trenches and echoing the last war. So we either give, see, here's the thing, we either give the militarists more support or we give the reformists more support. I can't get more support here. So what, I guess we want to have the loyalists, not the loyalists, the reformists get more power because we're anti, the militarists have more power in general. So let's speak to the Polish and we'll see if we can kind of have something here work out. But for right now, this would be a great time for us to end this episode. So if you enjoyed, thumbs up. Not doing a thumbs down. You want to see more, subscribe, and goodbye.